Hey guys, Brian here. So today is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a lot different actually. I have nothing prepared for this video besides a kind of general idea of what I want to say to you guys. But today we're going to be focusing on a theme build. I'm going to be introducing you guys to the theme build series I'm going to be doing here in the near future. So to clarify, I'm going to be doing a Spider-Man themed build for my 7-year-old son, Bryce. Why, you might ask? Well, at the beginning of the year, he asked me for a computer and I said, computers are too expensive. I can't just build you a computer. So what I told him, I made him a deal. I said, if you can save up to 100 Bryce dollars, and what is 100 Bryce dollars? So we give him like money for doing different things around the house, whether it's doing chores, making sure he brushes his teeth, making sure his bedroom's clean, his bed's made, all those kind of things. He kind of gets like, instead of giving him real money, we give him what we call Bryce dollars. And Bryce dollars can then be used for different things such as buying toys at the store, delaying his bedtime, picking out a snack, having movie night, all these kind of things that, kids like to do, but we want him to earn it, so that's why we do it. That's why we have them. That's why we do it, so that he can learn the value of money and he can earn things that he wants. And he can, really kind of go out there and start learning the value of the dollar. You know what I mean? Because money is very important. It's very important understanding how valuable it is and how hard it is to come by, which is the big thing. It's hard to come by, right? So I told him, if you save up 100 Bryce dollars, I will build you a computer. So all year he has been collecting and saving money throughout the entire year. So I somehow we convinced this 6 and now 7-year-old to save up 100 Bryce dollars, which is a huge feat if you ask me, right? And 2 weeks ago he came up to me, handed me the $100 and said, "Dad, where's my computer?" And I didn't have it built yet. So this is what this series is going to be about. It's going to be about me modding the P300A for like a Spider-Man theme to give my son a PC that he's worked very hard to make. I didn't want to just build him just a standard PC like we have back here. I wanted to give it a little extra oomph, so it was a little bit more special to him, so that he realizes how hard he actually worked towards this, and how much it actually means that he earned this. And I didn't just give him a computer. You know what I mean? He spent all this time, 9 months, to earn these Bryce dollars and save, and gave up staying up later or getting a toy at the store or this or that. He gave those up so that he could earn this computer, which is really, obviously as a parent, if you're a parent yourself, you probably know like that's a huge thing, being able to teach your kid what it means to save up money and get something and buy it for yourself, especially at the age that they are, because 6-year-olds want stuff now. They don't want to wait a week. They don't want to wait a day. They want stuff now, at least where I'm from. So, it's a pretty important thing to me to make him have a system that's really nice and cool. So today we're talking about that. We're talking about the series that's going to be going on there. So we're going to be painting the system. We're painting all the components that we use in the system. And then of course on the last episode of the series, I will have benchmarks and stuff like that for you guys. It's gonna be more for you guys because he's not gonna really understand what the benchmarks is. As long as it plays Fortnite for him, he's gonna be super happy. But for you guys, I will have benchmarks just like I do in all of my build, or at least my recent build videos. So I'll have like gaming benchmarks, productivity benchmarks, sound benchmarks, or sound or acoustics, and as well as temperatures too for you guys. So if you guys wanted to put together a similar system, you would know kind of like what you would get from the system. So today we're focusing on introducing you to the series, which will probably take me a month and a half or so to complete the entire series. So keep an eye out for that. And then I'm gonna talk to you kind of like about what parts we're gonna be putting into it. Now, these parts are parts I have around my house that I've been using from previous builds or whatever. These parts aren't parts I'm going out to buy for him. I'm using the parts we have because, again, you guys all know computers aren't cheap to buy. So I'm using what, we have. And so some of these parts might seem like they're kind of overpowered. They are really overpowered, but it's just because that's the part that I have available. So for the CPU, we're going to be using the Ryzen 7 2700. That was in my main system for the longest time. Then I switched out for a 3700, and then I sold the 3700 and put that back in, and this and that, and all this stuff is going on. But now I finally have that out of my system. So I'll be using the 2700 for his system. I know it's kind of overkill. I have the 1600 AF still, and I have the 3600, but I use those very often for testing, so I don't want to use either of those for his build. And then to cool his CPU, I'll be using the Wraith Prism. So the Wraith Prism is I'm pretty sure that's a cooler. It comes with like the X series in the latest generation. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it's that bigger one that kind of like clips in. I believe I have one with a 3900X. I'm going to be using that because it's a little bit more powerful than the other ones that I have, and it'll help keep his chip a little bit cooler than, you know, than one of the, again, like one of the ones that came with that, the 2700. And I don't really want to use one of my other aftermarket coolers that I have here, because if I ever decide I want to do more testing on that cooler, then, you know, I don't want it to pull it out of his system and so forth. Or buy another one, or whatever the case might be. I know I won't need that one, so I won't have to worry about it. For the motherboard, we're going to be using the MSI B450 Tomahawk. You guys all know, if you guys have watched the channel, I love the Tomahawk. Great motherboard, has a really good VRM for, especially for this purpose and for budget builds. It's overkill, honestly. You don't really need a motherboard this good for what he's going to be using it for. But that's what I have, so that's what I'm going to be using. Memory, I'm not actually sure exactly which kit I'm going to be using yet. I might have to buy one, or I might be using my HyperX one and changing the color of that one. I'm not actually certain yet, but it's going to be 16 gigs of memory. It'll be a 2x8 gig kit, and probably 3000 or 3200 megahertz speed. And then for the SSD, or for the storage, I'm going to be simply putting a 500 gig SSD in there. They're pretty affordable nowadays, so you really don't, you know, they're really cheap and affordable. And again, he mainly only plays Fortnite and Roblox, so as long as it can hold the OS, Fortnite and Roblox, he's going to be perfectly good. If I need to add a drive, a terabyte drive or 2 terabyte drive later, or a mechanical one later down the road, then I'll add one. But for right now, I think 500 gigs is going to be more than enough for what he will use it for. And that's going to be an SSD. That's not going to be an M.2. As for the video card, this is actually where I need your guys' help. So there's two things I need your help with, and that's first is going to be design. I don't know why I didn't mention this earlier. Since I'm doing a Spider-Man themed, I think I kind of have an idea of what I want to do for the design. But if you have any ideas, drop them in the comments below. I want to know what your guys' ideas are, like what we could do that would make this really cool and special looking for him. Again, I think he really earned this, and he worked really hard for it. I want, when he sees this for the first time, I want his eyes to be like this big, you know, that big. So if you have any ideas, drop them in the comments below, because I would appreciate that. The second thing is going to be the video card. I'm going to have a poll down in the comments below. I have an RX 570 that I kind of throw on the test bench whenever, just so that the computer is usable whenever I'm not testing something else out. So I don't really want to use that card for a system, because then I wouldn't have an extra graphics card for it. So I might actually go out and buy a 5500 XT or a 1650 Super. So I'm gonna have a poll down below in the description box. Maybe there'll be one that pops up somewhere around here. I don't know which side it comes in. So vote for the 57 or 570, the 5500 XT or the 1650 Super down below, please. I would really appreciate you do that. And then, you know, any design recommendations for any of you guys who have modded the system before, I would really appreciate that as well. As for the case, I already said the P300A from Vantex. I love the case. If you guys haven't used it yet, go look at it. I mean, for 60 bucks is basically what it goes for right now. It's a killer value for if you need an ATX case. It is certainly my favorite budget ATX case. I mentioned it in a ton of my build videos, and I felt like that's the only case I ever talked about, and you guys probably got sick of it, but it's one of the best full ATX cases that you can, or it'll hold a full ATX motherboard, that is. It's a mid-tower. It's one of the best cases you can get out there right now. And for the price, it's killer. Like, it's literally amazing. So if you need a budget case that can hold an ATX motherboard, that's the one I always recommend, because again, it's cheap and it's affordable and it's great. So that's the case we're going to be using. That's the case we're going to be painting on a lot of stuff. And then power supply, I have a Corsair. I think it's a 430 or 500 watt power supply that I had left over from a server I had that I used to use that I haven't had. So I took it out a couple months ago. I ended up tearing the whole server down, and even because I wasn't using it anymore, and I just put that aside. I'm going to be using the 430. I think it's a 430 watt. It's not, you know, the most wattage, but again, I don't think the system's going to really need that much. I'll verify to make sure it has enough wattage, but I really don't think it's going to need much more than 430 or 500 watts. If I need to get a 500 watt power supply, I'll go out and buy one. So those are all the components we're going to be using. I might throw some RGB fans in there too to make it look nice and fancy. But those are all the components we're going to be using. That's the project and why we're doing the project. I'm really excited to introduce it to you guys, because I've actually never really, you know, painted a case or anything like that. So I'm super excited. I hope that you guys are also excited for this type of video as well. Any suggestions that you guys have, anything cool that we could do, leave your suggestions. If I find any that I really like or that are easy for me to implement, I might end up throwing them into this build, because again, I want him to see this case and be like, holy smokes, this is sweet. I can't believe this is kind of like what I earned. Anyway, that's about it, guys. If you guys ended up liking this video, I know it was kind of unorthodox and it was very different than what I usually provide you guys. If you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you guys are interested in more tech content just like this. And yeah, so until next time, guys, I will see you guys later, and thanks for watching.